Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I am actually coming out of the jungle because the car I'm driving today has 3 screens, which means I get the right to drive fast in school zones, which will not be visible on the main screen but will only be visible on the passenger screen. Anyways, this is the Mahindra XUV 7XO, which is the facelifted version of the 700, but Mahindra is like, we have made so many changes that this car actually needs a new name. For starters, a lot of inspiration comes from Mahindra's BEVs, specifically the 9S, like the key, which is completely new here. However, does not get buttons here to move the car ahead and behind, so no self park, remote park, none of that is available in this car. Instead, you can lock the car, unlock the car, open the boot and sound the alarm. The previous key obviously I felt was better with the flip function, but then yeah, change is the only constant. And talk about change, they have changed a lot of stuff at the front end, which may or may not be to your liking because it feels that the car has become smaller at the front, but I'm sure it will grow on you with time. They had to make some change because 4.5 years since the car was launched, which is a long time for a facelift to arrive. So Mahindra was sleeping there. But now, as you can see, lot of evolutionary design changes. For starters, the grille, that is new. The bumper, that's new as well. The lights are completely new too, but again, similar DRL here. This is the projector, 2 projector setups. This is actually for the high beam, this is for the low beam, but when you get into the high beam, this also becomes brighter. It says Mahindra here, it says Mahindra LED with obviously the Mahindra logo right there. And they have made changes to the bumper, which means it does not have the aero curtain anymore along with fog lamps here. Instead, the fog lamps are here. This is the fog lamp, this is the cornering lamp, so depending on where you turn the steering, the lamp will turn on obviously. But this seems like aftermarket because Karolba could do something similar in terms of finishing. There's no housing here. Housing should have been provided. The radar is more powerful now, so it can obviously read a lot further as well. And the lane keep assist camera has more megapixels too. So lot of changes under the skin as well. This car's price starts at rupees 16.4 lakhs on road Mumbai for the base variant, going all the way to rupees 30 lakhs for the top end diesel automatic with all-wheel drive. 3 lakhs more for all-wheel drive, 2 lakhs more for automatic, and around 1 lakh more for diesel compared to petrol. It has the dynamic swipe function like it had earlier, but this function is slightly different. The dynamic swipe indicators, they are different here. Straight away, let's open the engine bay, which is a bit difficult. Yeah, it's a heavy hood, but no problem. Let's open it right there. And there's insulation right there. The engine is smooth and refined because this is obviously the petrol. There is where washer fluid goes in, and the engine bay is completely packed. Bang, it closes. The hood is actually quite heavy here. So this car is available in AX, AX3, AX5 and AX7, all of which have only 7-seater versions. But the AX7T and the AX7L, which is AX7 technology and AX7 luxury, are also available with 6-seater versions. So 6 and 7-seater versions. There's no MX anymore because now the car gets Adrenox as standard on all the variants. All the variants get triple screen setup. Oh my goodness, Hyundai Creta is hiding somewhere behind the bushes after hearing that. Now, in terms of changes, like I was telling you, very evolutionary. No such change to the skin of the car. So the sheet metal remains more or less the same as before, which means the length is the same, which is almost 4.7 meters. The wheelbase, which happens to be almost 2.75 meters, is actually long enough, and the tires are now bigger. So the width is the same as before, which means 235. However, lower profile, 55 profile. Earlier it was 60. I'm talking about the top end variant. Okay, the old tire size is obviously there on the lower variants, but this being the top end comes with 19-inch wheels. I simply do not like the design of the alloy wheels. They're not to my liking. Why are they so aero type wheels? Come on, the older alloy wheels were simply fantastic. I started loving them after I looked at these alloy wheels. So that's one of the things which I have to admit today. Meanwhile, this gloss finishing will obviously get dirty. I mean, it's very scratch prone as such. You obviously get a camera here. Door handles, they pop in and out electrically. Roof rails, they don't seem to be functional here. And rear tire size is also the same, says Adrenox right there, and this nice chrome line goes throughout the vehicle. Let's get into the rear first. Okay, you have a sun blind at the rear, which is very nice to block the sun and jealous Safari owners. Meanwhile, the door pockets are really big and nice, but lot of hard plastics. Again, gloss black finishing, new switch gear. Yes, that's right, new switch gear, but no one touch up and down power windows. No. Only the driver side. In fact, if you keep this button pressed, the driver side window rolls down and the sunroof also opens. But they should have offered one touch up and down power windows for all the doors with anti-pinch, but they have not done it, probably for cost cutting. Ventilated seats have been added, but the button has been placed out of sight. Not the best place to be in. There are a lot of changes here because, for starters, they have removed the USB-C charging socket from here. Instead, put it right here and here, wherein they have something known as bring your own device, so you can mount your device which can work in sync with all the other screens. So if you're watching a movie, you can do that as well. The other change is new AC vents. You get a wireless phone charger right here, so that's added as well, and it gets the electric boss mode, so you can move the seat all the way ahead from here electrically. That comes from the 9S. Earlier we had a lever to move the seat. Now in terms of space, good amount of knee room, good amount of foot room, leg room is also good. This is scooped out. There's a magazine holder right here. Under thigh support is decent, not the best, not bad. Headroom actually is quite impressive for something which has such a kind of a roof. Yeah, with this sunroof mechanism, obviously headroom gets intruded a bit, but headroom is actually good. Meanwhile, you get a hook right here, a nicely damped handle, light placement here on the top, height adjustable seat belts, and 7 airbags. There's an airbag there as well, which was there before too. However, now the center passenger gets a headrest. Yes, adjustable headrest. Earlier it was fixed. And there's another big change. Cup holders. Earlier they were like this, now they are like this. So they have made change to the cup holders as well. And obviously this new color scheme, which is quite premium, I definitely like it. It's all around the front as well, so well done Mahindra on that front. Really nice second row, but why have you not given us sliding second row seats? Let's shut the door. Oh, there it shuts with a nice bang. Yeah, no sliding second row seats. Why? This was such a great opportunity to offer us sliding second row seats, but they failed to give us that. Come on, you should have done it. Anyways, you see it says Harman Kardon. Speakers placed here, speakers placed there as well, speakers placed here, speakers placed almost everywhere. 16 speaker system, which is definitely better than the 12 speaker 3D sound system which was there earlier with Sony. This one being from the BEVs obviously sounds a lot better. Sound test done. Let's get outside and let's straight away try and get inside. Before that, let me show you that this seat actually reclines. That's right, you can recline the seat. Now you see the recline angle is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, that is also available, but I want to tumble the seat, so I just press this lever and there the seat completely folds. That one folds flat. Okay, 60-40 happens here, but it doesn't tumble. So in order to get into the rear, you have to do it like this, which means let me get inside. Firstly, the seat is amazing. Look at that finishing, phenomenal. But obviously beige is going to get dirty real soon, and once inside you are like, what are you doing in life? Because space is not good here. Look at this. There is no leg room, there is no knee room, there is very poor under thigh support, and headroom is also not adequate enough here. So this is definitely not for adults, it's for children. You get a handle here, hook as well, AC vent placement, cup holder here, cup holder there as well, 12 volt charging socket, a USB-C would be nice. Again, AC vent here, and blower control in the last row. Another thing is you can actually recline the seat. So this is reclined, this is completely upright. So third row, again, not practical. In order to get out, all I have to do is push it like this, and there it slides. But Mahindra has actually put their logo here. What's the point of putting your logo wherever you find space? Makes no sense, right? Anyways, let's get out. Firstly, getting in and out is really very difficult. It's a challenge for sure. I'm breathing heavy because it is not easy, to be honest. Let's shut this and come to the rear. Fuel goes in right here. Obviously, this is the petrol, so there is no AdBlue spot or a place to put AdBlue. Rear design very similar to the 9S. You get dynamic swipe indicators, full LED lights, by the way. Yeah, these are full LED lights. Honeycomb treatment here. So this is actually the brake light. This is the reverse light. There's a camera here. Rear wiper washer spray comes out from there. Meanwhile, you get a shark fin antenna, you get a high mounted stop lamp along with a rear spoiler as well. And the boot actually is very similar to the older model, so not much has changed on that front. You get a reflector treatment here, you get this chrome treatment, which is kind of nice. And look at this design treatment. A lot is happening with this sort of skid plate treatment. Where is the exhaust? Well, it's on that side, dual exhaust tips on the petrol, and that is the spare wheel, which is not an alloy, which is actually smaller size as well. So cost cutting has been done there. And if you were expecting a power tailgate, I'm sorry to disappoint you, that hasn't been added here. It's a manual tailgate, which is extremely light. Yeah, this is super light because it is made of composite plastic. So repairing it can be a bit difficult. Power tailgate should have been offered, but then again, they want to keep the weight in check. Space at the rear, not good with all the rows up. So that's a bit of a challenge, but there's some space here for your warning triangle, the cheap first aid kit, and obviously the towing hook as well. And there is jack too. I don't know where Rose is. There's a light placement here. Now let's fold these seats flat. Once you do that, space obviously improves quite a lot. Now that is a big boot for this 5-seater vehicle. With 7 seats, there is no boot only, and then you can put the second row seats down also completely, which makes the boot like really big. You can actually carry, I don't know what, maybe a XUV7XO. That's very much possible as well. Hard plastics are almost everywhere in this car, which is obviously expected at this price. It says XUV7XO here, AX7L, the variant name, L for luxury, which has slightly more features when compared to say the AX7T, but the AX7 variant itself is so feature loaded in Mahindra. Like majority of our sales actually come from the AX7 variant only, whether it's the 7 or the 7L or the 7T, they sell in great numbers. Anyways, let's come to the front, wherein I have some disappointing news. But before the disappointing news, let me tell you some good news. They have actually changed the switch gear. Again, this comes from the BEVs, so very premium switch gear here. I like it. Door pockets are big enough. You have an umbrella holder here and beautiful speakers. This was obviously there earlier as well, with memory function, so you can save up to 3 people sitting. That's nice. So electric driver seat with the welcome retract feature, which was there earlier as well. Get a proper dead pedal, same number of buttons as earlier, so same number of dummy buttons as earlier, and obviously you get height adjustment here. This is for adjusting the lumbar, tells you the tire pressure recommendation right there. Seats are actually very nice. I like this color treatment. The use of tan is beautifully well done, but this steering wheel is just not to my liking. Firstly, it reflects a lot. Secondly, it gets dirty very soon, and it's also prone to scratches because obviously this is a piano black and it's just too big. This is fine on EVs. The older steering was just so much better. I don't like it. Thankfully, I've got some physical buttons here, which is nice. Blind view monitor position has changed. Earlier it was in the center, now it comes on the corner. And you know why it has changed? Because obviously the screens have become bigger. So this was a 10.25 inch screen, this was a 10.25 inch screen. Now it's a 12.3 inch screen, 12.3 inch screen, and another 12.3 inch screen. So it has triple screens here, which is crazy. There's no heads-up display, which is a bit disappointing. Auto-dimming mirror has been added, wah beta wah. And here you get a sunglass holder. Meanwhile, you have got button for SOS and light control here on the top. But I'm disappointed there's only one switch to operate the sun blind as well as the sunroof. Meanwhile, in the Thar Rocks, you have 3 switches. One is obviously to open the sun blind, one is to close it, and one is to open the sunroof. Okay, sunroof brings in a lot of airy feeling. Beautiful sunroof, just that the switches are not rightly done. Especially when you know the Rocks is done everything so nicely, why do you complicate? Look, I didn't close that. Why is it closing? Yeah, stop. Okay, what is happening? Yeah, this is a problem with a lot of new cars. They can't just put switches inside. And talking about switches, what is wrong with you, Mahindra? Why did you remove the 2 rows of physical switches from here? There was 1 row of physical switches, which was basically whatever function is here, and all more functions were actually given on that particular row. And there was a proper nice switch row with rotary dials on either side for temperature control. That has been removed. Now you're completely reliant on the touchscreen for all the temperature control, which is just baffling to me. I simply don't understand why would they do that. Okay, lot of hard plastics, little soft material here, but again hard plastics there. In fact, if you notice one thing, this is proper. There's a slight bigger gap here. And talking about fit finish, it could be slightly better because you see there's a bigger gap here. So Indian brands really need to work on fit finish levels, because let's be honest, Mahindra has done a phenomenal job over the years, but they still have some rough edges which need to be sorted out. And this whole piano black finish is not great because it's a fingerprint magnet. Okay, engine start button has been changed a bit. AC vents have been changed slightly as well. The glove box is decent size. You have a strap on the inside and there's a separate tray on the top too. Twin cup holders here, some physical switches, so thankfully you can come into temperature control directly using this switch, and this rotary dial can be used for volume and other things. Okay, Mercedes inspired, Mercedes inspired, Mercedes inspired. So many Mercedes inspirations in a Mahindra car. M for Mercedes, M for Maruti. Mahindra as well. Gear lever is the same, electric parking brake is the same, auto hold function is the same, this sliding armrest is the same, and this tray is the same. This one is actually cooled. Yes, it gets the cooling function, which is nice. Again, nothing has changed on that front. When I open this, I realized something has changed because they have added a 65-watt USB-C fast charger here. Earlier there were 2 USB-A's, now your USB-C has come, and they have made changes to this tray as well. So there's a phone holder here, there's a wireless charging pad right there. But I absolutely hate this panel because firstly it's flimsy. I'm pressing the hazard, see, it's not working only, it doesn't activate. Half the time this panel doesn't work only. I am not kidding. Where is the hazard? the hazard is simply not turning on. So you have to really press it hard and then only it activates. Thankfully, there are just 3-4 buttons. One is telling you about the passenger airbag, hazard light, turn off the screen. And this is to turn on the parking camera, which works sometimes, which doesn't work sometimes. I mean, the button doesn't work sometimes. This is obviously the wide view. You have got multiple views as well. And you have got adaptive guidelines both for the front as well as the rear, which is kind of nice, obviously. And you have got multiple views. So this is actually the rear camera. Yeah, they call it 540 degrees because of this, probably, wherein they show you multiple camera feeds, which is both the front and the rear tires, and then you can obviously change it to the front tires, rear tires. And the best part is obviously the 3D view, which is quite nice. And this is actually a transparent 3D view. I can make it non-transparent, I can make it transparent. It's so phenomenal. It's really nice, actually. Quite like it. Even in this 3D view now, when I change the steering angle, it actually shows me in this camera, which is definitely very, very, very cool, obviously. So yeah, fantastic camera in that sense. And then I can obviously make changes here, how I want the camera and everything to work, which is kind of nice. By the way, the drive mode button has been given here in the diesel. The petrol obviously does not have the drive modes. And this particular screen is slick to operate. It's not like the BEVs. It's different from the BEVs because it is sort of evolved from the earlier screen which was there in the XUV7XO, but it has a faster processor. So you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity, both of which work wirelessly. This performance menu has actually come from the Thar Rocks. Lap timer was there earlier, but now all these parameters, they actually come from the Thar Rocks, which is kind of nice. You have got inbuilt navigation as well, which works with Maples, I don't know what that is. And then you have audio settings because it has got the Harman Kardon sound system, something known as 3D Impressive, and you've got venue-scapes wherein you have the Opera House in Mumbai, you have the Wembley Stadium in London and the Boston Symphony Hall. It's actually very nice, fantastic audio system, really amazing. And then you have something called applications, so a ton of applications including Alexa, which by the way was there earlier as well. Okay, I didn't call you Alexa. Don't do anything. It now has Dolby Atmos, not only Atmos, Dolby Vision as well. So not only audio but also for video. Again, phenomenal. In fun and work, you see there are a ton of apps. So you have Zomato, you have various video apps like Jio Hotstar, Amazon Prime, YouTube Kids, Apple Music, Amazon, you can shop here, Blinkit, you can order groceries, Myntra, you can get clothes, Flipkart, you should not shop from there, you'll order a phone, you'll get a soap. So yeah, you get the drift. Everything has been stuffed in the screen, and now the screen simply works better when compared to before. It's quite slick to operate the screen, so I'm kind of impressed. And this particular screen, which has a privacy filter, is not really visible from the driver's side. Similar video apps here. So you can get a lot of entertainment if you want, and you can shop things and stuff. So yeah, this is also quite nicely done. Obviously, it has got connected car tech also. So yeah, this is also quite loaded. Very impressive how they have managed to give us the triple screen setup on all the variants of this car. Which brings me to this particular screen. Thankfully, they have made certain changes to the screen because earlier the UI was very confusing. Now it's quite simple. You simply come into drive info and then you can see data here. It's a bit slow to respond. So you have obviously got the twin trip meters here. It tells you what's the fuel efficiency like. Did you see 5 kilometers per liter? Yes, because this is obviously the petrol. You can come into the vehicle info, wherein it obviously tells you the roll end pitch. It also tells you the tire pressure as well as the tire temperature. So this is one of the views. Then in driver assist, obviously it changes, wherein it shows you this view. However, it's not very accurate because when I was using this while traveling through a town, I saw people walking under buses or trucks and all those things which happened, which kind of freaked me out. Yeah, it's not very accurate as such, but yes, it is another nice view to have. And then obviously we have the navigation menu. By the way, the design of this screen can no longer be changed. Like the dial mode cannot be changed anymore from these switches here. Instead, in order to make changes to this particular screen, you simply go inside this particular menu, wherein you can configure a few things. How do you do that? You only do it in the diesel, but you can change the driver display from here. Earlier, you had to do it from that side, but now you have to do it from here. And here you still don't get a mirror. Mahindra should have added that. This obviously extends, but a mirror should have been added here. Although you definitely get a mirror on this side with a light on the top. But come on, this was a great opportunity to add more features, and removing physical buttons just doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me. Let's rev it. this petrol revs all the way to 4000 rpm in neutral, which is nice. Automatic headlights, automatic wipers. The steering wheel is adjustable both for reach as well as rake, which is nice. But then again, I don't like this panel only. Even pressing the horn is not that intuitive. The horn, nice and loud. Anyways, let me turn off the car. As soon as I do that, it makes this sound, and then I open the door. You see, the seat is going back. It tells me which door is exactly opening, and whenever I exit the car, obviously it tells me that what is the overall drive summary. That is the welcome animation, does this full swipe up thing. Air conditioning has turned on its own. Anyways, it has got ventilated front seats, but I don't understand why the ventilated seat button is in the touch screen. They should have a physical button like they do in the Thar Rocks. I come into reverse and the mirror actually auto dips, and now it has memory mirrors as well, which is obviously a good thing. It has got a solar glass which obviously cuts UV rays and also makes sure that the cabin is slightly cooler and then less brighter as well. Anyways, let's start driving right away. Let's go. Alright, it's time to start driving, and first things first, I forgot to tell you a few features of the car. Let's turn it on. As soon as I turn on the car, the AC always turns on, so first thing, we are going to turn that off. Secondly, when I come into this application bit, I realize there's something on called Groove Me, wherein it obviously does the light show like the EVs do. The Tesla copied thing is here as well, and it has something known as ambient lights, which by the way has multiple modes here, and you can customize it too, because you can have a different color for the dashboard, for rear doors, front doors and all that. So which obviously is cool because your passengers can also select their own color. It has a driver recorder also, yeah, DVR, driver video recorder, something of that sort, which is good. And I think there should be some way to actually bring that out as well. There must be a USB plug somewhere, I believe. That's loaded fast enough. Where are we? Let me come out of this setting. And in applications, now driver assistance is completely inside here, so you can change all the driver assistance systems from here, which is kind of good. And I'm straight away going to come into drive. I'm actually going to change this. I'm going to turn on the roll and pitch meters, and I'm going to keep this button pressed. You have to keep it pressed for 5 seconds. 1 2 3 4 5. Come on, turn it off, and there, ESC system turned off. Hazard lights off, and off we go. You see, tire direction, it says check tire direction, so it has this feature as well. It tells you the tire direction, and off we go. Very smooth, very refined, absolutely unbelievably smooth this engine is. And it's time to stop here with left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. I don't know why my specialist timing gets shut off. Revving the motor. Okay, stop start system, I need to turn it off. And check this out. Okay, no wheel spin because the road is obviously very smooth here. But we shall try a wheel spin here, which means again left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Come on, you heard that. That was a lot of wheel spin. Upshifting at around 4,900 rpm. Now upshifting at almost 5,000 rpm. Oh my goodness, this engine feels really very punchy. It has the grunt, feels very spritey somehow, and that's not accurate because I have not really tested the car on a flat surface, which will come ahead, and then we are going to test the acceleration of this car. In terms of performance, I am supremely impressed because this car's 2-liter M Stallion engine. It's obviously a gasoline direct injection. It's turbocharged. It produces 200 freaking horses, 200 horsepower, and a torque output which is impressive at 380 Newton meters. And because the torque comes so lower down, turbo lag is very well contained. Low end is good. Mid range is very nice and juicy. Has this punch in the mid range. Feels very like juicy, the mid range, which is surprising for a petrol engine. And top end is a bit lacking because it upshifts very early, so it redlines under 6,000 rpm. Doesn't have the top end grunt only, so that's a bit of a problem. Let me turn on the camera here, and there you can see the camera view obviously while driving. Can I see a front camera view as well? Yeah, I can. That's also kind of cool. So car feels amazing to drive because the engine is really very powerful. Unlike its immediate rival, which is right ahead, the Tata Safari, which has a smaller 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine, this one has more displacement, and there is no replacement for displacement ever. And now let me push this car through some inclines and declines to show you how the suspension is, because this is a new suspension which they like to call as, what do they call the suspension? I forget the name, but yeah, they always come up with something innovative in terms of naming, and then I feel that the suspension is just so damn awesome. Yeah, it's fantastic the way this car's suspension is, because there is improvement in the ride quality without a doubt. But obviously it's a top heavy car, and around the corners you can feel that weight. So when you push it around the corners, definitely you'll realize that it's a bit top heavy. And in terms of the steering feel, it's light at low speeds, weighs up at high speeds. But this big steering, I'm not liking it honestly. But overall ride and handling balance is good by SUV standards. Monocoque obviously, so it's kind of fun. Body roll is well in check even when you push it around the corners like this. And the engine is smooth and refined. But where are the paddle shifters? There are no freaking paddle shifters. Yeah, that should have been offered. And then obviously if you try to corner hard, the front end washes out immediately. And that's an inherent problem with front wheel drive cars. Obviously you cannot get this with all wheel drive because this is a petrol. Petrol only comes with front wheel drive. 60 litre fuel tank, it really needs it because the petrol drinks a lot of fuel. Fuel efficiency is not impressive here with the petrol because it's like returning quite less. In all honesty, 5 to 7 kilometers per litre is what it's going to return, nothing more than that. And oh my goodness, yeah, it's such a fun car to drive. I never thought a petrol car, which obviously guzzles a lot of fuel and is so top heavy, will be fun, but the performance here is very impressive. In fact, the top speed is almost 200 kilometers per hour. I've got manual control on the gears, so here I should put it down and let me downshift and see, does it hold on to a gear? So we are into first gear, and then it's upshifting at 5000 RPM, no manual control again. Sometimes the gearbox has a mind of its own and it will upshift closer to 6000 RPM. This particular gearbox is a 6-speed torque converter unit, which is not fast with shifts. It's very easy going. It's smooth but not fast, and that's a bit of a problem. I don't know why the camera turned off, because probably I was at a low speed. So here, let me turn it back on. We are going to put the side view here, and it's time to go fast over that big sort of place. And oh my goodness, I almost felt that I have gone like airborne, and when I leave the steering, it's going to center and it's immediately going to want me keep hands on steering wheel. So it does that very quickly, because obviously with ADAS also now brands are telling you that you can't drive with your hands off the wheel. That is not cool. Yeah, you lean into the corner, it obviously has that roll which is coming in. But the petrol is very fun to drive. Only thing is it's not efficient at all. It drinks a lot of fuel. But then Mahindra is like, who cares about fuel efficiency? We give you the performance, and that's something you really appreciate about Mahindra. They always give you performance. Their focus is always on performance. Here you can see the roll and pitch in these meters. Yeah, and there's quite a lot of roll and pitch, especially when you figure out the fact that this car is actually lighter than the diesel, and still there's so much roll happening here. I mean, it is what it is. I can't change that. Let's do the wiper test. A lot of spray on offer here. Come on, give me a downshift. Maybe it will not give me. But then going over the road like this, it's actually quite fun. I like this road. The problem with this car is there's just too much performance. There's so much performance now that you end up driving it very, very, very fast at times. And this new suspension now which Mahindra got actually surprised me. I was not expecting them to make changes to the suspension. I'm like, okay, cosmetics, more features and all. In terms of features, obviously they could have done a lot more, because Tata Motors is offering more features. Like the Safari and Harrier, they get the camera cleaning function both at the front as well as the rear. So Sierra gets a heads-up display. Sierra's third screen also gets wireless headphone, and you can connect your gaming controller as well. So yeah, the Sierra is way more freaking loaded, which is kind of awesome. So I obviously expected these guys also to offer all these features, but somehow Mahindra hasn't really done the kind of stuff they did when the 700 first came out. Because when the 700 first came out, now it absolutely rewrote the rules of the segment by offering features unseen in the segment. And now rivals have caught up and overtaken Mahindra, and Mahindra's like, you want features? Maybe you need to go electric. That doesn't make sense. Come on. This guy should have had more features. I know they're giving a lot. They're giving a lot in lower variants as well, but they could have given a lot more. I'm not being greedy. I'm being realistic. Okay, we could have got a lot more features here. Anyways, I am going to launch the car. Hazard lights on. See, this doesn't work only properly. Let me reset this. left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, hazard lights off, and off we go. Wheel spin, come on. Upshifting under 5000 RPM. Why? And that's 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 9.3 seconds, which is very impressive. Sub 10 second time to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, which is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, the kind of performance this engine offers definitely blows your mind. And ride and handling balance is also good. The better ride in the car because of the new suspension really makes a huge difference here. It feels so much more comfortable now. And earlier, obviously, the 700 wasn't the best in terms of the ride quality, but now there's a dramatic improvement here, which I definitely like, which actually brings me to the brake test. Let's do it. At 100 kilometers per hour, hazard lights on, and too much sound coming from the ABS system. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. Anyways, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, hazard lights off, and off we go. Wheel spin, a bit of it. Why do you shift so early? Shifting like a diesel engine, yeah. Finally went above 5000 RPM, so it has a mood of its own. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 9.5 seconds. Trust me, this is a sub 10 second SUV. No matter the road conditions, because obviously slight incline, so it's slightly slowed down as well. But it's fast. It's very fast, and it's very fun as well. It's not very vocal inside because insulation levels are dramatically improved when compared to what they did with the 500, because in the 700 they have really taken things a notch above. So you can't hear much inside, but yes, the engine can be heard a bit, especially in the higher end of the rev range. I just wish there were paddle shifters, and I just wish that the petrol engine would like redline at a higher RPM, because it does it quite soon as such. So let me actually try and see if I can make this engine try and rev more. Now this is actually the petrol automatic. The petrol manual would be the best because you can launch it more aggressively and you can hold on to a gear as well, so that would be more fun to drive. But all this is obviously at the cost of fuel efficiency, and if fuel efficiency is something you really care about, it's the time to opt for a diesel engine. And that's the reason we are going to jump into it, and straight away we're going to try and jump this car as well. No, the new Da Vinci suspension is just so good. It doesn't let you jump. It keeps the ride amazing here, and that's something which they have done a phenomenal job. They didn't need to, but they still have done it, which is fantastic. And yeah, Tata Motors offers a screen here, which Mahindra is not doing yet. Power tailgate is also offered by Tata Motors in the Safari as well as the Harrier Petrol, and that's something again which Mahindra is not doing. So I'm just going to stop here quickly. We are going to change the drive modes, and I'm going to come in the top drive mode. So right now we were in the lowest drive mode. Come on, activate. Yeah, you see what kind of a problem this is? Do I turn off the camera and then try? Yeah, I have to click on it from here. Toggling through does not work at all. Stop start system off. Zoom mode activated. It says left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, hazard lights off, and revving the motor, revs till 2000 RPM, and off we go. Not much of a wheel spin. Upshifting at 4000 RPM. Feels slower than the petrol for sure, because this is the diesel automatic, which actually is kind of refined, but then obviously compared to the petrol, it's not that refined. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 9.8 seconds. Another sub 10 second car. Fantastic, Mahindra. Absolutely amazing. The kind of performance you give, I am so impressed. Wow, what feels DDLJ vibes. Anyways, performance here is also very strong because it makes a colossal 450 Newton meters of torque in the automatic. Meanwhile, the manual has 420 Newton meters of torque, 185 horsepower, 3 drive modes, zip, zap, zoom. Very, very weird naming, but zip mode gives you 155 horsepower. Zap and zoom actually gives you the full 185 horsepower, wherein the difference is in the throttle response. The throttle response is sharper in the top zoom mode, which is sort of the sport mode. Meanwhile, the zap is the city mode and the zip is the eco mode here. So fuel efficiency is actually good because obviously a diesel is a diesel is a diesel. This will return approximately 8 to 10 kilometers per liter, again depending on your driving style, but out on the highway it can stretch to 15 kilometers per liter. 2.2 liter diesel engine, very nice here. And that Bolero guy came out and then saw that he's coming inside the lane. That was kind of weird, and because when I come across such speed breakers, I don't have to stop because of the new suspension, which is absolutely fantastic. The way it performs, like here we go, whoop, yeah, that is kind of awesome. Let me do the 0 to 100 km per hour test again because it's a flat patch of road. Brakes are good. Yeah, again this ABS is a bit too sensitive. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, and off we go. A little bit of wheel spin, camera turns off. Let's turn it on again. Yeah, this is such a pain, these switches now. I don't like them at all. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 9.7 seconds. So consistently under 10 seconds. That's absolutely fantastic. Great performance. Diesel is just so amazing. There's lag, but mid-range is nice and juicy. Top end is obviously lacking, which is an inherent characteristic of all Mahindra engines, whether it's petrol or diesel. Meanwhile, this 6-speed automatic gearbox, torque converter unit, smooth but not fast with shifts. Let's come into manual mode and see what it gives me. Here I'm going to downshift. Come on, downshift. I don't understand why they don't offer paddle shifters. Tata offers you paddle shifters. Why Mahindra does not offer paddle shifters? It's just not understandable only, and it's upshifting under 4000 RPM. Did you hear that? Yeah, what exactly happened? Well, the wheel was spinning and the car was in the air, so then it was doing these wheel spins, but I mean the tire was moving obviously because we are in motion, and then it went a bit airborne, and then obviously you had that sound. Now I'm going to stop here and I'm going to do some crazy things. First and foremost, let's turn on the hazard lights. Oh my goodness, this touch panel, I don't know why they spoiled it. So many times I've criticized brands, including Mahindra, for this whole touch thing which they do, everything based on the screen. They don't simply listen only, yeah, they are in their own league only. Anyways, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, 2000 RPM, hazard lights off, did not turn off, yeah, a lot of wheel spin, and off we go. So 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. How fast? I think it's going to be slower because of the wheel spins, but it does it in 9.8 seconds. Consistently it's doing under 10 seconds. That's how impressive it is, which actually makes me believe how fast could it be in the zip mode, which is like 155 horsepower. Obviously it's going to be much slower, so I'm going to stop here. And if you notice one thing, traction control automatically turns on around 65 kilometers per hour, which is kind of weird. Why would you turn on traction control if I've turned it off? So here we are in zip mode right now. See, steering is so damn freaking light here, and straight away it's the time to launch this car, which means left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, hazard lights off. Band ho ja bhai, अरे बंद हो जा, अरे मेरे को पनवेल निकलना, बंद हो जा.
Dude, I got a very bad feeling about this.
Now let's go. Little bit of wheel spin. Upshift even lower, 3,500 RPM. So premature upshifting happening here. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes, come on, another shift to get into 111.2 seconds. So obviously when you lose 30 horsepower, you obviously lose a lot of performance as well, which actually makes me believe, can we do it in a different time with the zap mode? So here into zap mode. Come on, response is so slow with this touch screen thingy. And let's reset this. This is so far away now, I can't reach it only, even though I have Kanun ke haath, and off we go. I love the diesel grunt. It becomes very vocal, higher end of the rev range, but I love it. I love the sound. I love the clatter. That's me, and that's 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 9.89 seconds. This is a fast car. Obviously, the diesel feels better to drive because the front end is slightly stiffer there, which gives it more feel, but the steering doesn't really have feel as such. I mean, it weighs up, but doesn't really feel that great. And now it doesn't even feel great to hold because of the way this steering wheel has been designed. That's an old Mahindra. That's like the great grandfather of this car. In fact, if both of them meet, that car will not even identify this car as a relative at all because of the kind of touch buttons which are happening here, which not only will that car not approve, I also don't approve. Mahindra, why did you do that? There was no reason to go so touch. It becomes so difficult to operate a basic thing like a hazard light. Imagine you have a hazard and you want to do something about it. You press the hazard light button, nothing happens. You might have more hazards after that if your hazard light button doesn't turn on at the right time. Or maybe I think Mahindra is a genius. Mahindra decided, you know what, people misuse the hazard light button all the time, using it at times when they don't need to. So Mahindra has programmed it in a way it doesn't work half the time. Genius. Really, it's frightening the way Mahindra actually thinks at times. This is the most popular variant or powertrain choice, which is a diesel automatic, but I would never buy a diesel automatic. I would buy a diesel manual. So rather than being stuck behind a Bolero, why don't we just simply jump onto the highway so that I can stretch the legs of this car? Let me upshift and show you how comfortable this engine is. At 100 kilometers per hour, it's barely at 1700 RPM. That's how comfortable this engine is, and top speed it does almost 180 kilometers per hour. Fantastic engine. I love big diesels, and it's obviously decently efficient as well. Fun to drive. This engine obviously powers a lot of other Mahindra cars like the Thar Rocks, the Scorpio Classic, the Scorpio N, you name it. It does a phenomenal job. What an engine. You know what's the best part? Mahindra's actually made this engine on themselves. They haven't gone to Fiat and told them, oh please, can we buy your engine? Oh, you're giving it to the Hector, let us also buy the rights of those engines. But forget all this, because Automatic is okay for the convenience, but honestly, it's the manual which is the one to buy because there's so much driving feel. Okay, I'm going to make a quick U-turn and you will see what I'm talking about. Into first gear and check this out. Okay, first you're going to do a bit of reverse here so that I can turn it properly. And now, guys, here we are. Listen to it. You're going to go absolute bonkers. Look at the camera turning and ready. Oh my goodness. Wheel spins on upshift. That's how bonkers it is. Absolutely phenomenal. So we're just going to come to a halt here because I want to change this cluster mode. I don't like it at all and I'm struggling with this. In fact, I told Mahindra about this. They're like, it costs them more money for this capacitive touch than physical buttons. So I guess they are going to change it because they took feedback very seriously from me. And that's the reason why I'm actually missing this thing right here. Come on, load. It's a bit slow till the time it loads. Now let me tell you that the AX3 and the AX5 actually get the old steering wheel, which is so much better. And that's one of the reasons why people will actually buy the lower variants which have the better steering, because this one feels like a truck for sure. I like these bronze colored door handles. They are so nice. Like the color treatment inside the cabin is actually quite impressive. In fact, another grouse I have is that for CarPlay, it connects to USB-A. It does not connect to USB-C. It should connect to USB-C. I don't know why this whole logic of connecting CarPlay to USB-A is there, because nobody uses USB-A anymore. And by the way, this is what I'm missing right now. What an iconic design, amazing interiors, everything in this car. I started loving more after driving this one. Although, I mean, change is the only constant, but the design is so freaking timeless. We'll talk about that in a bit. Before that, let me speak to ChatGPT. Yes, it has got ChatGPT integration as well. So here, let's ask the car something. Which car is better, XUV7XO or Harrier or Safari?
From Quora.com. The XUV is a great car with lots of gimmicks, but when it comes to driving pleasure of an SUV along with sheer road presence, Harrier wins hands down.
Oh my goodness, that was not the right thing to say, lady. In a Mahindra car, you are saying such things. Not cool at all. So straight away, let me press this drive mode switch and we are going to customize the drive mode because I do not like this at all. Come on. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. In fact, when I was reversing now, the camera went haywire in one of the cars. It was just like distorting. This I'm trying to change. It's not changing. Should we try from here? Yeah. It's still loading. Custom drive mode, please. Jaldi kar, mere ko panvel nikalna hai. Yeah, there, now I can configure it. Let me show you a few cool things before that. Let's turn on the air conditioning. Now I have to come here. I can actually change the engine power between zip, zap and oh god, yeah, oh god, in zip, zap, zoom. So I'm just going to keep it zoom. Brakes, I can configure the brakes as well. This was not working in the automatic, but yeah, zap and zoom are the two brake modes, not in the automatic. Climate, I can have eco, normal, that's it. Anyways, I'm going to turn off the air conditioning, and the steering can be zip, zap or zoom. So we're going to make it the best. And the cluster mode you can change. So there is zip, zap, zoom. I'm just going to keep it at zap because I think that is kind of nice. Let's activate it. In fact, I think the zip wala is only better. The cluster mode, I don't like the other one. It's not that good. So this is also such a cool thing here. Right, let's start driving the car. Oh my god, my specialist timing gear only shuts after inactivity. And hazard lights off, and off we go. First things first, let me turn off the traction control. I keep this button pressed for around 3 seconds, and there traction control turns off completely into first gear. Guys, listen to this. Okay, listen to this. Lot of wheel spin on upshift as well, which is absolutely fantastic. That's why I believe it's always good to have a manual, because a manual gearbox is just unbeatable. You know why it's unbeatable? Because it has the feel. It's so awesome in making shifts. That's quite amazing. So it's the time to time the car from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, which means we're going to stop here on the left. Traction control has to be turned off again because it automatically turns on. By the way, I've criticized the blind view monitor being on the side because it overlaps with the meters, and that's what's happening here now. Earlier it was in the center, so that's sort of a step back again in certain areas. Yeah, I am very critical about certain aspects because I just want a great driving experience. So we are in the best drive mode with the most power, and it's time to time the car from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, which means revving the motor and off we go. Wheel spin to glory, upshifting, and a lot of wheel spin there as well. Upshifting into third. Gearing is actually a bit short, which means I have to shift to fourth, and now it does 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 10.94 seconds. So yes, it's definitely slower when compared to the automatic, because automatic obviously does seamless shifts on its own. Here, when you're doing your own shifts, it obviously results in you not getting the best launch. So we are going to time it again. Okay, brakes are nice. And here we are into first gear, and this time traction control is actually turned on. So let's see if there's a difference. Hazards off, and off we go. Little bit of wheel spin, come on. Oh my goodness, I couldn't get the shift right. We try it again. A little bit of wheel spin. Okay, now I'm short shifting because that's the meat of the power band. Top end is a bit lacking, trying to shift as fast as possible. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 10.8 seconds. So it is almost a second slower from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour when compared to the automatic. But you have so much more driving feel here. It's amazing. The clutch is actually light. The gearbox is also smooth in terms of shifts. It's only that going from 4th to 5th now has some notchy feel to it. And then I'm in 6th already. What a beautiful powertrain. Absolutely sensational the way Mahindra is able to make its powertrains. Really enjoy driving the car. Here, downshift to 4th. You see a corner, you downshift. That's the fun, not letting the gearbox do it on its own. And oh my goodness, the fun of shifting your own gears is unparalleled. It's unfreaking beatable. This engine has so much grunt that we are going to slow down. I am actually going to come to 3rd gear. At what speed? Well, say 10 kilometers per hour. Okay, check engine system because I stalled it. That's not the speed the engine can take. So I'm just going to short shift and see if we can be in 3rd at 20 kilometers per hour. 3rd, 20. Turbo lag. Then turbo kicks in. Then the car wakes up, starts pulling hard and fast. And then it reaches the red line of almost 4,600 RPM. So that's 20 to 110 kilometers per hour in one freaking gear. Absolutely fantastic. Very tractable engine. Amazing. I love it. In fact, when you come to a halt now, it has something known as LVD. I cannot pronounce it. I cannot tell you the whole word as such, which obviously we've seen in Hyundai Kia cars. But the difference here is they don't call it LVD here. It tells you here what exactly it is. So if the vehicle ahead moves, it will just give you a warning there, which is good. Which actually brings me to the safety of this car. They are targeting for 5-star NCAP, B NCAP actually. That's going to be a cakewalk. I think Mahindra has the potential of getting a 5-star Euro NCAP also, considering they want to sell their cars in global markets. Like it's sold in South Africa, it's sold in Australia. People love the car there. So that's that. And the pricing is obviously introductory for the first 40,000 customers only, bus. And that's a good introductory pricing for a lot of people actually. And I know I keep praising a manual, but when you drive in the city, you're like, automatic is so much better, because who's going to deal with making so many shifts, right? Wrong. Actually, people who put nail paint, guys who put nail paint, they are the ones who prefer automatics. So when I drive in the city, I actually put nail paint and drive an automatic, because at the end of the day, the convenience of an automatic is unparalleled, but the feel of a manual is just so damn freaking awesome. It's next level. So we're going to reset this right now, and I am straight away going to come into drive mode. This time, shut this camera, bro. What are you doing? Hazard on, drive mode on, zoom mode on, come on, and this back, camera on, into first gear. Let's test it. And off we go. Hazards off. Yeah, I kind of got that right. Let's see. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. I believe it's going to be around 10.5 seconds. And that's 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 10.46 seconds. What an estimation. Sometimes I feel I am the specialist timing gear myself, which actually brings me to the pain point of this car, which is the design. Many people don't like it at all. Some people are saying that it's like a Marazzo. Like, well, the grille is a bit similar. Some people are also very harsh with the comments. They are saying that the ex-Tata designer has designed this car, and he obviously seems to be still working for Tata, and that's the reason he's come to Mahindra to ruin the designs, which is a bit mean, because they had to make some changes. And honestly, I like the design because I was thinking they would probably make it worse by making it look like the 9S. Thankfully, they have retained the originality of the XUV7XO, so that's actually a very good thing. And no longer they speak about cheetah and all, which they used to do earlier with the 500, and they did a bit with the 700 as well. Cheetah is out completely. No more animals. Oh my goodness, a manual is so damn freaking fun. It's so awesome. But you know, people are like, the 700 is actually the facelift of the 7XO. That's how much they don't like the design actually. So that's a bit weird, because honestly, it grows on you with time. Now, this car misses out on front parking sensors, which is a bit surprising, because that's something they should have offered for sure. And I'm just going to come into this menu right now, and I'm going to change this to the driver assist so that you can see how cool it looks. Yeah, there it is, showing me that school van as some bus, and it says collision possible. It's showing another XUV colliding into another XUV, and then it turns and says no, it's not an XUV, it's actually a truck. This system is so damn freaking awesome. Now at times it obviously shows you animals, But more than that, it also shows you motorcycles. So I like the ADAS system in this car, which it definitely works quite well here. Fantastic. Now the price of this particular variant is rupees 27.44 lakhs on road Mumbai, and I am telling you this is the variant to buy because a manual is a manual. There is absolutely no competition, but it's so feelsome. It amplifies the driving feel 10x because you're in complete control. Now you're coming to a corner, you want to make a quick overtake, you're thinking, what should I do, right? This car tells you. See the motorcycle, you can see there, it's so freaking cool. Now the thing is with Mahindra, they obviously do a lot of part sharing. So the rear seat is new. That's the reason the armrest and all have changed. It actually comes from the 9S. So why doesn't it have the sliding thing? Because the 9S obviously has the slider, like the sliding feature. No, it's not here. And every time I'm making a quick overtake or I'm coming through a corner, I have to think, plan, decide which gear to be in, and that's what makes the whole driving experience so damn awesome. Honestly, I just love this car for the driving feel only. Unparalleled driving feel for the manual. In fact, Mahindra as a whole makes fantastic engines. Petrol, diesel, manual, automatic, you name it. It's so freaking fun. That is what really differentiates this car from other brands, that their focus is always on performance. Yeah, they don't care about anything else. They always care about giving you performance, and that's the reason why most of us love Mahindra so much, because at the end of the day, it's not just about how fast you go. It's also that, but how you go fast, and you're going fast in a heavy SUV. So that's feelsome. This diesel manual obviously drinking fuel. Torque is down by 30 Newton meters, 420 Newton meters, but you don't feel it at all because you can wheel spin to glory here. And that is only because of the fact that this car's traction control can be turned off, and then you can launch it as aggressively as you want. Now in this trip, I have driven approximately, today I've driven, where is the trip meter? So I'm basically driving from Jaisalmer to Jodhpur, which is like almost 300 kilometers, getting a fuel efficiency of almost 8-9 kilometers per liter with the way I drive with a very heavy right foot, and still getting great mileage. That is absolutely fantastic. See, it's telling me there's a motorcycle. Yeah, it shows a Ducati or something. Meanwhile, another 7XO is overtaking me. That's actually the diesel automatic, and hazards turn on their own. So the thing is that I need to actually stop and launch the car once again, which means let's turn off the traction control system. There, it turned off, and listen to this, okay? The wheel spin in this car is so freaking amazing. Honestly, why pay that additional almost 2 lakh rupees for an automatic when you can really enjoy yourself with a manual? A manual is a manual is a manual, and there is no replacement for this gearbox because they have improved it now. It's become even better. So to summarize, I would say the XUV7XO is a phenomenal car. Amazing powertrains, good handling, good ride, improvement there, lot more features. Few things a little irritating here and there, but doesn't really matter because this car is going to sell in great numbers either way. Now this is the diesel. It has a single exhaust pipe. The petrol has dual exhaust pipes because slightly lesser power here. And obviously the petrol is firecracking but drinks a lot of fuel. Here, quick overtake which now want to downshift. That is what makes the whole drive experience so freaking engaging. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Yeah, it says collision possible. Bye bye.